had a caller down in West Palm Beach where his Mar-a-Lago club is, and the caller was Kevin McCarthy, the House Majority Leader. The president took him to dinner last night at Trump International in West Palm. On the way in, apparently reporters were able to ask about 3 minutes worth of questions, and the first one was, that we're going to play for you right now, regards something that the president tweeted about yesterday. He said he's willing to deal, but the Democrats are not. Watch.
Honestly, I don't think the Democrats want to make a deal. I think they talk about DACA, but they don't want to help the DACA people. Now, we used to say the DACA children, but the children aren't children. You have a lot of sticking points, but they're all Democrat sticking points, because we are already willing and able to make a deal, but they don't want to. They don't want security at the border. We have people pouring in. They don't want security at the border. They don't want to stop drugs. And they want to take money away from our military, which we cannot do. So those are some of the sticking points.
Well, put it this way, the only game in town was the game that was brought to him by Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin and the others. So when that was brought forward, that's when things blew up. I think that he's got to now realize, after this weekend's comments, he lost a little bit of leverage, but there is still room before Friday's shutdown to get something done.
And he was asked other things at the
Sure.
at this press conference. He was asked about racism. Is he a racist? And here's what he said.
No, I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed. That I can tell you.
So what he's referring to there is the big story we were talking about on the couch on Friday, which was, did the president make that comment that Dick Durbin came out later Friday and said he did? Well, yesterday, the president made it very clear there at Mar-a-Lago. Did you hear what those two senators said? They said, essentially, I didn't say those comments. If you missed those actual senators on the Sunday chat show saying it, here's a replay.
I'm saying that this is a gross misrepresentation. It's not the first time Senator Durbin has done it, and it is not productive to solving the problem.
So what did the president... I didn't hear it, and I was sitting no further away from Donald Trump than Dick Durbin was.
I think walking back 15 hours later and then those statements over the weekend, I think if the president wants to get ahead of this, to get momentum, he should make it clear. He's commenting on the countries, not the people in those countries. There are geniuses in Nigeria, geniuses in Haiti that would make America a better place. Not everybody in Norway makes America a better place. It's a merit-based system they want to bring forward. I would love for the president to go out and clarify the remarks, because obviously Tom Cotton has a different view than Dick Durbin. The president could move everything forward by just making that declarative statement.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything the president could say that would remove the way that these people think about him, that they want to have the conversation be about racism. I think what this is, the comments that that were leaked out of that were about what the president said at the beginning of the first clip, which is they don't want a deal. Because if you wanted a deal, you would have never leaked that comment, whether he said it or not.
Sure, and you know, Brian was talking earlier about how these senators went to the White House to present their bipartisan plan. Keep in mind, the House, Rachel, you know, your husband's in the House. The House with Bob Goodlatte, they've got a very Trumpian proposal that talks about chain migration, that talks about getting rid of the visa lottery program, and that winds up dealing with the Dreamers, but at the same time funds the border wall.
Right.
The problem is the U.S. Senate is, you know, their proposal was so moderate, the president said, I can't do that, whereas the House version, it probably won't get much Democratic support at this time, so there's still a lot of dealing to be done. And the peril for the Democrats is that a majority of Americans want something done with the DACA deal. And for the president to go out yesterday and said, look, I'm ready to make a deal, but they don't even want to play, that can be damaging to the Democrats.
I spoke to Senator Lindsey Graham yesterday, who spoke to leadership on the Democratic side yesterday, and spoke to the president as well. And they know that Friday is a deadline. And they know that nobody wins with a government shutdown, not Democrats or Republicans, certainly not us and everyone watching. So there is a sense that people know that they got to go back and do a deal. And the question is, not that if you love Lindsey Graham's plan or Bob Goodlatte's plan, doesn't matter. You got to sit in that room and do what you did Tuesday. Negotiate. Negotiate. You don't like $1.8 billion for the wall? It probably doesn't go. So get it up to 3.5. In exchange for what? That's what we do on a daily basis. We don't buy a car without negotiating.
But you talked about that first meeting earlier in the week on Tuesday, and the president said, I want a deal of love.
Yeah.
And the framework still has to be there. And I think actually, and I see this as a Hispanic woman, I think this is a deal of love. What the president is offering.
Which one?
What the president is offering. He's saying, I want certainty for the DACA recipients, so I want to solve this
That's
problem
check.
permanently. And then he's also saying, I want to secure the border so there's not another generation of kids who are stuck in the middle
So
with
get
no
more
certainty
border
like this.
security
More
money.
border security. And by the way, it's also a deal of love for American citizens who are tired of heroin and meth coming over the border.
Right.
So this is a deal of love. And there's only one reason why Dick Durbin leaked the comments, whether the president said them or not. And by the way, Durbin has been known to go into closed-door meetings and say things that aren't true. He's done that under President Obama. But even if the president said it, you would only repeat that if you wanted the
I
deal to
agree.
get busted.
And what made, I think,
They
Dick
did.
Durbin look terrible and laughable and marginalized all his other comments when he came out and said, I told the president not to use the term chain migration because of what it means to African Americans. That is a common phrase used on a daily basis by both sides over the last 25 years. Chain migration is not an insult to people. It's a way of explaining why one person comes over and you end up with 55 people coming over, which is an issue that both sides agreed had to get done.
Well, where are we today on this Martin Luther King holiday? We are at a stage where they are not close to a DACA deal, and they're not really close to funding the government, and that is a problem because they run out of dough on Friday night.
Let me add this. There are other Republicans that contacted the Republicans that presented this plan to the president, who was very positive on it at 11 a.m., but when he got with Tom Cotton and others, and maybe you like this and maybe you don't, he blew it up by the time he walked in. At 11 o'clock, talking to General Kelly and the president, he's like, come on over, let's move, let's start talking. When he got there, it ended up being blown up. They say that more Republicans have contacted Lindsey Graham about joining in the effort to get something done. And the Democrats haven't shut the door.
Well,
Meanwhile, let's talk about opening the door to the House of Representatives in the back chamber, State of the Union night. The President of the United States will address a joint session of Congress. However, there will be